Hi, my name is Ainsley Fisher, and today I'm going to teach you how to pick a market lamb as well as the difference between a market lamb and a breeding ewe. Behind me I have 6 sheep back here, 2 of which are breeding ewes and the rest are market lambs. But in here there's no sharp edges where they can cut themselves at all. It can be appeared. It's completely safe. So when you're picking out a market lamb, there's a couple priorities that you need to pick. There's 4 priorities when I come to pick my market lambs, and also my livestock judging coaches have told me that these are the 4 priorities that you need to use. The first one is muscle, the next one is trimness, and the one after that is skeletal correctness as well as pattern, and then the final one is structure. Muscle is the number 1 top priority when picking a market lambs. When we pick market lambs, we want to make sure they have abundance of muscle or they have the structure to be able to build the muscle. Muscle is the thing we eat as humans, and it's to bring you money in the long run. The next one is trimness. We don't want our sheep to be fat like we do in our cattle. When we want them nice and trim, we want a little bit of fat. And on my wrist here, on my hand, this back part, when you feel it, is perfect. You can still feel bone and have plenty of fat cover over it. This right here is way too skinny, and here is too fat. And as it goes along as your project, to make sure that they're staying completely trim and well. And the next one we have is skeletal quality and pattern. My coach, Shelby Gresham, says that if they have to have a lot of width and dimension at the ground to be able to produce and lay the foundation to have the pattern to be a good market lamb. And that's what we want to look for, is the nice width at the base, as well as they carry that width as they go up. On the profile, this is where pattern and skeletal quality are about tied. On the profile, this is where pattern comes into play. You want them to get progressively deeper from their chest floor down to their flank. You want their chest floor to be nice, elevated, and tucked up. And these lambs here that I have next to me, I'm going to show you a few of what we need to do. And structure is the final priority. Being a structure is not something we see as much in market lambs as we do in our breeding ewes. The structure is other angles and how they're walking and moving correctly. We want them to make sure they're covering their tracks. Then they have 45-degree angle to their shoulder. And after this clip, I'm going to put a picture of the correct angles in a sheep, so you can look for them when it's kind of hard to see, but I'm going to show you some examples. So let's go. So on my lamb colt here behind me, I will flip the camera about in a second. I'm going to show you where the places to find muscle as well as their angles on a sheep. So here we go. This is my sister Bailey, and she's helped me out with the video today. So one place where we can see muscle is over their top, the shape that they roll to their rack. So something we gotta look for is the shape, and you can use this trick called handling just to confirm how much shape they have over their rack. What I do is I gently squeeze, let my hand mold to the rack, and I take my thumb just like this right now on their spine. I'm gonna roll the amount of shape that he has, and he has a tremendous amount of shape right here, and his rack shape is going to continue to grow. And then back here, back into his last rib, which is right here, into his loin. This is his loin. And I've checked the depth and how long he is. He's got a pretty long loin, as well as you see a lot of shape on his loin and more depth. The only places where you can tell muscle is in their butt. Right here. Into their lower leg. This is their stifle, and this is their lower leg. And some judges will come up and feel just like that. And you can see the muscle expression that he has right here. In some lambs, you can also see the muscle shape he has in their forerib. As you can see, he's got a little bit started. As time goes on, it will definitely grow. But you can see on the profile here, he has a lot of abundant rack shape right up here. And as he goes back, you can see this groove down his top, and that's really good. And sometimes you won't be able to see it with their wool on like we do in some of the other lambs, but once you shear them off, you should be able to tell. Okay, now I'm going to show you the angles and where you can find them. So the angle of their shoulder is a nice 45-degree angle. As you can see, it's kind of hard to see here, but he has a perfectly level 45-degree angle here, which makes his legs perfectly even, just nice, have the nice C shape. He does have some wool here since we just recently sheared him, but a nice C shape, which you can look for. Back here in their hock, it has to be perfectly just like this. Angle quite like that, and to their pastern. He has leg wraps on to keep the wool in and inside. But you can see the angle is perfect. Sometimes you can get them to be too bent or too straight, and we don't want that. Also, you can see the angle to his hip. He has perfectly level out of his hip. He's very proportionate in the way he's made, which comes in when you're talking about skeletal quality as well as pattern. All of his thirds fit together. So also when we're talking about pattern as well as skeletal correctness, we want the length of their body. So length times width times size, basically. On this lamb that I have showed you here, I'm going to turn you around. As you can see on this sheep, with the length times width times height, he's plenty long down his top. The more length that they have, the better cuts they can produce, but the more muscle, more money that you can bring. A bigger rack cut, because the longer the body is, the more shape they can have, so the more money you can make in the long run. Something I forgot to mention in my market lamb video is bone size, and it really comes into play with our breeding ewes to show the width and dimension and how much shape they can handle up high. So I'm going to show you. Now I'm going to show you the difference between a breeding ewe and a market ewe. So today I will bring out, this is my breeding ewe back here, and then my market ewe that I have this year I will bring out later. But over the past couple years that I've been in livestock judging, I have learned the difference and been able to spot the difference between the two. What you want our breeding ewes, we want to change our priorities a little bit. We want our skeletal quality and our pattern to be up top, and after that we want our structure and then our muscle. Skeletal quality and pattern can go hand in hand within the two, but we got in breeding ewes we got pattern, skeletal quality, structure, and muscle. We're not really looking for muscle in our breeding ewes because we're not taking them to market. This is my ewe Rachel. Her mom is a replacement ewe that we had, and she will become a replacement ewe. Again, the leg wraps are on because to keep the leg wool in. On her, you can see that she's incredibly wide at the ground and square on all fours, which is something we really want. On the profile, she gets progressively deeper from her chest floor down to her flank, and over time that does begin to build. She does have some market qualities, just she's thicker ended, which means she has more muscle out of her hip. One thing I wish I could change about her, she's a little bit tighter in her spine, but overall the width and dimension and her genetics that she has in her is what it takes to be the breeding ewe that she needs to be. She may be shorter and smaller to breed, but still with the width at her hip, I'm not so concerned because she can be able to push the babies out and be able to carry the amount that she needs. Do you see how much bone and foot she has? The bigger the foot, the bigger the frame they can have to be able to hold the babies or hold the amount of muscle. Also, you can see here she has an abundance of shag, which is good because it shows the amount of bone size and also gives her that showing look. Out here now, as I have my market ewe that I'll be showing in market classes here this year. So let me go and show you to her. Okay, here she is. She does have wool on where my other one does not. As you can see, she gets progressively wider from her shoulder back, which is extremely well. And she has a lot of shape over her rack when I feel it and roll it over. She has a really long loin. She has those market qualities, whereas my breeding that I previously showed you does not. Now something that she doesn't have is the shag. Let's study her at her bone right here. And she's still got plenty big foot size, which will help her to produce the amount of muscle that she needs to grow. I did cover a lot of these market qualities that I just showed you in her with my market lamb colt, but something else is she's real bold and sprung about her rib shape, which means she can lay a foundation of muscle down her top to produce those high-end cuts.